Cheers.
I just talk a lot. What are you talking about? Natural?
Thanks for the wine.
Yeah, cheers. 2 whites, 2 reds, even playing field.
All right. Welcome to Tabbi Hour Podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Adam, Kristina from Larkin's.
That's right. Empire.
One of the biggest, greatest restaurant groups in the country.
I love it. I love where your head's at.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah.
What else is there?
So, excited to have you guys here. I mean, you guys were early partners of Tabbi. And I want to, you've never done a podcast. You've never told the story.
No, this is the first podcast ever. I feel like you're popping my podcast cherry right now. Thank you for that. And you're so handsome.
I don't know, man.
If anybody's going to pop it, it's going to be you. Are we crossing lines? We're crossing lines here? I mean, I feel like there's lines that need to be crossed. Otherwise, it's not going to be entertaining.
I'm like blushing.
I mean, like, who the hell wants to listen to this if we're not going to cross some lines?
The only story we told was really Larkin's story last year. And we bought it in September, so September has been a year, but the story didn't drop till January. They wanted it to be first of the year, and it was kind of from her perspective, and this will be really the first time we've talked about our story from our perspective.
So do you want to start with your individual stories, kind of the road that led you to hospitality?
Yeah. Do you want to like ladies first?
Lead the way.
Oldest to youngest?
Kristina.
I think for any successful restaurateur, I mean, we have the similar story. We started in this business a long time ago, 16, 17 years old. We didn't know what we wanted to do. And it started to afford us things, and we could buy things and be independent. And the more we worked, the harder we worked, the more we did, the more return we got. And I mean, that's my story. I've been in the business for 35 years.
Did you start in the kitchen or front of house?
I was a cashier, dishwasher.
Okay. Yeah.
I was a manager at Wendy's when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And that back then, it seemed like fast food was nothing you ever wanted to do, but I learned more from working at that job than I learned any place about pinch and pennies, labor, all the things we try and teach our managers now. Like, I learned it at a really young age, and that if you wanted to make money, you had to always be busy, you had to work. If somebody put a shift up, you had to be there. That was me. And I had 3 jobs until I had my son when I was 28. Always had 3 jobs
So
in this industry.
To succeed in the industry, you have to be willing to be there and to do it.
You have to want other things.
Okay.
You have to want to buy a house, buy a car, and you could see a road to get there.
Well, and this was in a day when wages were...
I made $4.35 an hour. I'd count how much dollars I would have by the end of a 40-hour week and how much it was going to take me to buy an $800 car.
Yeah, I think my first sous chef job, my first management job in kitchen was $30,000 a year, and I worked 6 or 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days. That was just what the expectation was. It wasn't like you had a choice.
Life was a little bit less expensive.
Yeah, I had like a 4-foot-tall British chef, so, like, he just didn't understand why you weren't working all the time. And it took me a minute to realize, like, how to get a day off. And the only way to get a day off was to get drunk at like 9 a.m, knowing he's going to call you to come in. And you're like, sorry, chef.
Physically unavailable.
Sorry, chef. I already started drinking. He's like, it's 9 o'clock, mate. I was like, I know. I knew you were calling. Sorry.
I'm surprised he wasn't like, I don't care, get in here.
I mean, that was what was going through his head, but,
liability-wise.
I was having a hard time putting words together. I mean, I was getting after it. My plan was to get drunk, take a nap, get up, enjoy my day.
Starting the culture young.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess. I mean, that's just kind of how it was. I mean, Kristina's not wrong. It's totally different now. And a lot of people tell you that, but, as far as, that drive, I don't know, it just comes from inside, right? You want to do it, or you really like to do it, and you really enjoy the hospitality side of it. Like, Kristina loves making people happy. Like, she'll do a spin over backwards for anybody to make something happen. I'm a little more reserved with it, like, I got to really like you.
So where does
gotten older, more calloused.
Does your passion lie more in the food?
Yeah, I don't know. It's always a moving target for me. I think right now, being where I am currently, like early on, definitely. But where I'm at now, it's more about, we've got these. We've been talking about this the last couple of days. We've worked really hard in this business. We've done all of it. Like, there's nobody doing it right now that something we haven't done. I mean, we probably did it harder than most of them, to be direct. But, or it was harder on us because we were having to do more work with less people than right now. I mean, I see it all the time in our restaurants. So, but now we've worked really hard. We've gotten to this point where we had an opportunity to buy into these restaurants and own restaurants, and now they're our restaurants. We can go around saying we're restaurant owners and we're excited about it, but like, I'll be damned if we're going to lose it. So now we're there. It's not like we're here and we're going to stay here and everything's copacetic and amazing. We got to work even harder to keep it because it's really easy to lose it. It doesn't take much. It takes a couple bad eggs, couple
poor
serious.
services.
Is this a censored thing, or we can just let it rip, right?
Let it rip.
I mean, don't fuck something up, right? And then expect to like keep this empire so great, I mean, Larkin, we're going to celebrating 20 years next year. Larkin's being in Greenville, South Carolina. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. A restaurant business, in business still after 20 years, is pretty awesome. So we got to keep that going. You can't just let it fall off. We can't let our eye off the ball. We have to continue to invent ourselves and create new ways and keep working hard. And I think to answer your question, right where I'm at now, it's more about seeing the people in the restaurant, a busy restaurant, a buzzing restaurant, a lot of smiling faces, a lot of people enjoying themselves. They're like having this experience. And I think that's where the gratification is now.
You could tell when that's happening and it's all clicking, and you guys might not see it, but we could feel like maybe little things that are going wrong, and that stresses us out. But when we walk in and we could sense everybody's getting serviced and getting attention, and we have a smiling hostess and the kitchen's bumping, like you could feel happy off of him, radiate off of him.
Yeah.
If he's like doesn't have a big smile on his face, that means something's going wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job though with keeping that not public, because I mean, restaurant operations is chaos, and it's like the duck on the top of the water. Like below, it's kicking like hell, shit's flying all over the place. But on the top, it's just kind of smooth sailing, and at least the appearance of it to the customer. I'm in your restaurants a lot, and unless I see you and hear that something is going wrong, generally nobody knows it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that damn duck's upside down and his feet are frailing all over the place. Like, what the fuck was going on right now? Somebody shoot that duck and get a new one in here. Give me another duck. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a true story. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, it's just how it is right now. And it's like, I think that's where, through experience, right? Like, don't take away the fact that we have a lot of experience doing it. Like, we've seen a lot, we've done a lot, we've been a part of a lot. And when you have that experience, you just know, you hear, you see, you can feel. Like, those are things just from doing it that you just get, you kind of have a radar for. Like, just from the kitchen side, for example, like teaching, it's been the hardest thing for me probably, is teaching others how to do it. But as a chef and running kitchens my whole life, really efficient kitchens with great teams and developing really great teams, like, I can just walk in and walk through a kitchen and feel and see what's happening. I can just see what's going on and know what's happening without having to ask anybody anything. I go in a walk-in cooler and tell you if we got food or we don't have food. Based on the things we sell. Like, you go to an Italian restaurant, Limoncello, and you walk in there and there ain't no chicken parms ready to go. That should be a number one question, because let's be honest, people, us American people like our chicken parmesan. I mean, ain't no chicken parms ready to go. You're like, okay, where's the chicken parm?
And then you start asking, like, well, where's the cook that was supposed to make it today? And then did the truck even come? And it's a million questions surrounded by that. But that one little thing, we don't have enough chicken parm on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I was like,
it could crash everything.
Yeah, cue the Blues Clues music right now, or it's just like the guy's walking around with his little pad trying to figure out what's going on, because that's literally our life. Like, okay. Oh, the food purveyor didn't send it. Okay, let's call them. Did you not send it? Oh no, it's there. We sent it. Well, the prep guy didn't prep it. And there's all these like series of questions that we already know the answers to.
Nobody wants to like admit the blame.
Yeah, just own it. Like, look, I screwed up. Like, oh shit, you're right. Let me get on that real fast. That's really, and maybe it's really frustrating with the people that work with us that we have this knowledge base. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder like what that perception is, but I would hope that it comes from a point of that we know because we've done. And
there's got to be a level of respect. I mean, There's definitely restaurant operators that are business guys that never worked in kitchens, that never, they've bought a business and now they're hiring somebody to manage that operation.
Yep.
Whereas you guys are subject matter experts in the kitchen.
I don't
in
even
the
know how they
service.
make it, to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
mean, the first thing we do, like, I look in a trash can to see how much shit got thrown away, whether it was off our guest plates or what they prepped. And that's a telltale sign right there. How many forks ended up in the trash? How many glasses broke tonight? So somebody coming in that was, like in the military and was a military leader that never worked in a kitchen ever, but because he's got leadership experience going into a restaurant, it's like, it's different.
Yeah.
So you guys took over, when you took over the ownership, you didn't just take over Larkin's, is that correct? You took over Limoncello
we're
and
5 corporations total. So we have 3 grill marks. We have Limoncello and Larkin's. And then outside of Larkin's, we have kind of a corporate class and then a catering arm as well. So it's kind of a bigger corporation as a whole.
so had you owned anything before that?
No,
So that's a
not really.
big operation to just
A rental
step
property.
into.
Yeah. We just,
A rental house. That's the only other thing that I own.
How long did each of you work at Larkin's prior to owning it?
18 years for me.
Yeah, I was
So-
right at 5.5.
Okay. So you understood how that business ran.
I got to see the growth.
Yeah.
I have to, I started, they hired me to do the catering. So it was only Larkin's and then Lake Lure. I didn't have much to do with Lake Lure. They brought me in to take the catering from a $300,000 business to whatever I could make out of it. And we had the pavilion and the 2 spaces upstairs. And then over the years, we got the sawmill and we got the L where you got married.
Yep.
And asked to really make it what it turned into at that time. So it's 300 to 3 million in
Oh,
3 or 4
wow.
years. Just that part of it. So that part of like Greenville and that business, the sky's the limit. Lots of potential for growth.
Yeah,
I
we started working together in 2019. I started on my birthday in 2019, so that was in April.
He was like 20 minutes late for his interview.
And we're
There's a story to that, okay? There's a lot. We like to throw the word Larkin's around a lot. There's a lot of Larkin's things. There's Larkin's L, Larkin's Sawmill, Larkin's Restaurants, Larkin's Catered Events, Larkin's Camperdown, right? Larkin's on the river before that. Larkin's on the lake. There's a lot of Larkin's words, right? And so, me being the go, what were we, 15 minutes late getting here today? So put in the sawmill, and that's where I went, our catering facility. I show up, and they act like I was crazy, and made a phone call and ended up at the right place. But if you've never been to Larkin's on the River, and you've never been to Greenville, and you've never been there before, it's like trying to find this
Fort Knox,
studio right
it's
now.
hard to get in. Oh, yeah.
It's like, where are the
Yeah,
maps
yeah.
like taking you around?
Yeah.
Like, you just keep turning around. It's like, is it over here? Is it over here? Where is this? I'm on the Peace Center campus. I'm trying to find this place. But, yeah, I was late, and I thought that was a shoe.
still got the job though.
I
Well,
don't know.
Larkin
Must
said-
have been my charm and my wit.
She said, he's easy on the eyes. We'll talk to him. We'll talk to him.
Give him a shot. And I guess I taught my way through it, right? I just kept talking.
Yeah, it's good.
So you've been there 5. So where were you at the 10 years prior to that?
Oh man, that's a long story. That's a long one, but I'll give you the short and sweet. Right, went to college Charleston right out of high school. Had a blast down there. It's a really cool town. A lot of fun. 1.033. They kicked me out. I mean, kind of like, man, you're gonna have to retake everything. I was like, bummer. So I met.
I don't think he remembered what he had taken anyway, though.
Well, I did get a minor in toxicology, so I've got
Yeah, it's
that.
good.
I've got that on the
Major in
resume too.
partying,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've got that down pat. So anybody want to challenge me? So yeah, then I'm back at home and trying to figure out what to do, and back in the golden days with the newspaper and the want ads, right? So little place, little fast casual place that did kind of sports bar more really than anything. So I got a job there cooking, and I just loved it. I thought it was really fun. Like the day went like this. Everybody's cussing, listening to rap music, talking shit to each other. I was like, man, this is awesome. I love it here. And I ended up meeting my wife. She always wanted to be a chef, and so she wanted to go to culinary school. So I went to Guilford Tech, back at the GTCC campus in Jamestown, North Carolina. And I worked full-time, went to school full-time, and just kind of fell in love with it and just kept pursuing it. Led me to some great opportunities, opened some really amazing hotels. The proximity in Greensboro, we talked about that before.
Yep.
Hometown.
Yeah.
Back
We
in
grew up
Randolph-
in the same county.
Back in the Randolph County, baby. And then, I don't know, before I got this job, I was basically in St. Augustine doing consulting work for the Kessler Group. They have a hotel there. So I'm what they call the chef and B. That means you're responsible for everybody.
So you both had chef experience. You had more catering experience. You had the hotel. Did you have any hotel experience or just hotel restaurant experience?
Yes, hotel restaurant mainly. But then again, I mean, I've done Food Network's Cutthroat Kitchen. I went to James Beard House twice. I did competition dining and won the whole state championship. But, you know, it's like really pursuing that career, right? And then when I was up in Cashers at Canyon Kitchen, super awesome experience. But it was like mad scientist, crazy chef stuff, you know, like we were only open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. That was really where the meat and potatoes of the restaurant were. But I changed the menu every week. So every week, almost every day, sometimes every hour when it got really crazy. But we grew our own food. We had, I think at one point I counted 37 different vendors that I could get food products from. And like one guy specialized in foraged wild raspberries when they were in season. So that's like one rando. But when they came, they're like unbelievably good. And so cooked with some super talented chefs. I mean, every one of them. And we cooked some really awesome food. And then I was kind of like, I started losing that like chef passion, where it was like it wasn't as fulfilling as it was up to that point, because it was super fulfilling. You guys come in, you're going nuts, you're hyping me all up about how amazing everything was. It's, it goes straight to your head, right? It feels good.
Yeah.
But then I started fading, and I just sort of started going down a different path, and I don't know, I just didn't really like it. It's like almost like, I don't know, semi-self-destruction, just, having fun and like cooking, but then, also being crazy chef. So when Labor Day hit and it kind of got soft again, I go back to being husband and father, right? So it's like crazy psycho chef, husband and father. So I got real bipolar basically.
And it's just like running a business though.
Well, it is, but it wasn't balanced at all. Like there was no balance in my life. It was just like full tilt. Like I swear I'd get up at 7 in the morning, 8, I lived in Brevard, so it was an hour drive. So you would drive an hour to work and drive an hour home. But when I got there, I was there. I didn't leave sometimes till 11, 12 at night, sometimes 1. Get home at 2, get back up, do it again, and go. So like, I think my third season doing it, I think my wife and kids were basically gone the whole summer. They were with
Dad's
in-law.
out of commission.
Yeah, they're like, okay, here he goes, going to psycho land again. And I was very focused on it.
Well, you just sleep and work, so you're not
That's it.
engaged in anything that's going on with your family.
Yeah, which took a toll, and it hit me. I mean, I realized it. Once you're self-aware enough, you'll see it. And I was like, all right, we got to do something different. So I left there to establish a restaurant. I wanted to open Hayes Grocery. So my grandfather opened Hayes Grocery in 1942 in Randolph County. And I wanted to reestablish it and do, kind of like a fun little made from scratch, sort of come in, get your veal stock, your beef stock, your chicken stock, soups, sauces, butchery, all the fun stuff like that. But then also have kind of like a little cafe and be able to get some really great food. So I really worked on that with some folks up there, and we were real close. I mean, super close. And then, you got to do what all entrepreneurs do and make sure you really got enough capital. And let's be honest, the chef life don't give you a lot of capital.
Yeah.
I mean, you stow it up, you think you've got it. And I'm
Slim
like,
margins.
yeah, I got this. Piss and vinegar, here I come. And then you kind of say, this ain't going to work. So I ended up going to the Kessler property in St. Augustine, in the Casa Monica, and I was going down just to help through the busy season for 3 months. Turned into 6 months, and, same thing. I lived in the hotel. I was there 2-3 weeks at a time before I'd come home for a couple of days. And I knew that was going to be over at some point, and then I just started asking around for people looking for opportunities. And that's when I found out about the Larkin's group looking for a director of culinary. So just because it was a perfect fit at the time, I mean, I was like, yeah, I can do it. Run multiple restaurants, work on their kitchen, standardize recipes, work on procurement, do all the things that I'm really good at. And that's when that happened. And then,
And this is pre-COVID, and that year Adam came on was budgeted to be our $20 million year, and it was going to be our year. We were going to open something else. Catering was going to be at the highest it's ever been, and then
Classic.
COVID.
then the bat flu.
So what were some of the biggest challenges? I mean, you guys worked in the business. What were some of the biggest challenges when you own it? Like, now I own it.
Oh.
What do we do now?
We don't understand taxes. Is anybody out there? Can somebody really explain it to me? Like, break it down with like a flow chart and a video, because I can't understand it.
Challenges, huh? I
And we have others, but we know what to do about them. This
Yeah.
one, I don't know what to do about.
I mean, you know, like,
An accountant.
yeah, it wasn't like we were getting a massive education in, you know, ownership, right? There's the things you just don't account for, I guess, or you just don't think are things, or you just don't even know about it. So I think that may be the answer to your question. I think the operational side of it, we still know how to do all that. We've been doing it. You know, we were.
And there's always challenges,
Yeah.
but I've been dealing with them, the same ones for 18 years. People,
people.
personalities, drama, HR stuff.
I'm here for the drama, personally.
Oh, the drama.
However
Every day.
much
There's
you
too
want to
much of
delve
it.
into in that.
One day when we're not so involved in operations, there'll be a show coming out. There'll be multiple episodes.
It's
It's going to
I'm
be
18
hysterical.
years.
Yeah.
Well, so what are some of the challenges of, you know, people, HR, staffing, taxes, but going from working in the business to now owning the business would have been in what, 18 months?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it is, isn't it? It's weird.
It's went by fast.
Does it feel like yesterday?
It still does to me. Yeah. I mean, I'm still super grateful. Like, it's like an unbelievable
No, it's an amazing opportunity.
experience.
And we wouldn't do it different. We're learning. But the one thing I would say over the last 5 years that is the most challenging is how easy people give up. And you're going to have a bad service. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to get into a car accident. Something bad's going to happen in your life. But how easy people just give up is, I think, our most challenging part. Because we want a family. I don't want to do this forever. We want to pass it on to somebody. We want to sell it just like this. Because my kid's not going to want it. We want to sell it to somebody
When
that...
you don't want to run it for 30 years.
No, hell no. But we want to pay this forward. And we want to have managers for 10 years that we take on trips and we do things with. And like one bad service, everybody's like, oh, I'm done. I'm out, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to... My experience in restaurants is you'd have people that would come work for a brand. They'd work for 6 months. They'd get pissed off.
Right.
They'd go to a different brand.
Right next door.
Doing the same thing.
Exact same
and
thing.
they have the same exact problems,
Yeah.
just different faces.
Right.
Each restaurant has a this person and a that person.
Right.
Different name, different face.
Well, I said it for years in the kitchen. I mean, I said, somebody told me they're quitting because of something I said, or I tried to get them to do something. And I was like, it's fine. Look, it's the same shit, different tile floor. It was always my saying. It's the same shit, different tile floor.
Yeah.
So it could be bad here right now, this moment, and define bad. I mean, it's not super easy. There was a challenge.
The shift's going to end.
You know,
you're going to go home.
all the 6:30 reservations decided they want to come at 6, and we sat them all at the same time, and it's so painful, so hard, whatever. I mean, it kind of comes with the territory.
Why do you think that is? That there's such turnout? Is it because there are so many restaurants in a small vicinity that they can just go to, and you know people are always looking for good help? Or
I think that's part of it, but it's also like trying to figure out what your thing is. Like if you're not real forthcoming with it, or you don't say it, and if you have a manager who's not really engaged in that side of it, it's different for everyone. Like we had somebody that worked with us, and she was just like, I am not polishing glassware. I just refuse to do it. That was her thing. I'm not polishing glassware. Well,
She a bartender?
Yeah. It was part of your side work. But really, literally refused to do it. Was like, I am not doing it. And somebody else had to do it. Well, the other person had to do it, had to complain about it because they had to do it. Why did she have to do it? I got to do it. Then you get into that game. And it's like, you want to give some concessions here, but at the same time, it's like, at what point? And so you never know what it is, right? I mean, Liv here, she might... If we gave $100 a week to the Humane Society, she may think we're the greatest thing ever. She's going to work for us for the rest of her life because that's something really important to her. But when you have, I don't know, 100 people per store with 100 different things that you got to figure out and identify and understand, I mean,
Out of every store. You know?
it's difficult.
I'm not
It's just too much.
motivated by money, but I like my free meal, or I like that you guys give us a break, or you give us uniforms, or whatever it is, and it's hard to identify that. And I mean, the way I came up, I'd trauma bond with a team over a bad service, and those
Right.
are my people.
Yeah.
And ride or die. And we'd work together for years.
yeah,
And that's they don't look at it that way. And they just go bump around all the restaurants, and then they'll come back a couple months later. Can I get my job back?
How do you combat that?
That's that you said. What are we trying to figure out?
Okay,
I mean,
so that's kind of in progress.
I don't think you can combat it. I think you just have to say, you have to be fair and you have to be stern and you have to have accountability. When you let accountability slide and you let it slide on one or two people, for whatever reasons you do that, and this is at the management level. I mean, it's the one thing I can say about myself over the years. Like, I mean, you could get people calling in right now and there's going to be a handful who hate me, a handful who love me. But it's the same thing is true. I treat everybody exactly the same way. There's really no favoritism, even if I like somebody better. When it comes to accountability, if this is the rule, this is the rule. And I believe in it. Everybody in my family will tell you, when I play this game, you better tell me all the rules. Don't leave a rule out, because you leave a rule out,
I'll find it and I'll break it.
Well, I'll break it, but if somebody else does, I'll be pissed, because it's like, whoa, was that a rule? I didn't know that was. Yeah, it's happened. We lost a cocktail competition. I was madder than hell about it, because it was like,
you're not very competitive, are you?
Massively, dude. You ain't first, you're last. Everybody knows this. So I mean, like,
Do you have any
that's
Nerf
where I'm
guns
at.
around here?
You got any what?
Nerf guns.
Oh yeah, don't get started on
That's a good idea.
Nerf gun stories.
It's real fun. This would be a good place for it.
So
No, it's not. It's
I
terrible.
think, I think everybody that's ever worked, managed, especially owned restaurants, understands that there's a lot of very similar problems and have been for 50 years, 100, however long restaurants have been around. But I think that we're in an unprecedented time for restaurants nationally, but also in South Carolina, between labor shortage, growing wages, cost of food, margins tighter, liquor liability.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
We can dive into that a little bit
Yeah.
with what we've got going on in South Carolina. But
Yes.
I mean,
Fiery one right
What do
there.
you? I mean, how are you guys seeing kind of a combination of those things? Of the food cost is going crazy. People want more money. They want to do less for more money. They want to work less hours for more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your margin is pinched to a point that it's the businesses that aren't big and aren't doing a great job and aren't fighting are going out of business.
Yeah.
You and I've talked a little bit about the liquor liability, but for the listeners that don't know anything about liquor liability, what's going on in South Carolina right now?
Well, it's funny you should ask. Been a hot topic this week. Christina's heard
What's
this
that?
every day since I've been really hyping it up, and now we got a new session happening, so it's really important. We're talking about it a lot. I think the hard part about that one is, like, it's just like anything else. When you tell me I have no other option, that's when I start saying, well, let me find another option. There's going to be another option, because I can't just settle for this is just how it is. I've never been able to do that. So in this case, it's the same thing. It's just how it is, right? That as new restaurant owners, restaurateurs, providing experiences that we offer our restaurants, the consumer, the diner, like, if you don't have liquor, I mean, the whole stigma is around liquor. But if we could have a restaurant that just serves beer and wine, we know what that feels like. We've been there. We went and ate at one recently. I wanted liquor. Well, they only had beer and wine. And I was like, damn. But then I'm going to go somewhere else. I may be there for a minute and I'm out, right? And liquor's a thing.
But this bill applies to even beer and wine, right?
Yeah, it does. But it does. But the liquor's really where the stigma lies.
So what
in the entire state of South Carolina, like, if you look it up, like, there's a lot of, like, silly little laws about liquor, and it really is like, you can buy it at the liquor store, take it home, and consume it at your home. We can buy it as a restaurant at the liquor store, take it to the restaurant, and then sell it. That's literally it. Like, you can't go sit in your car in a parking lot and drink it. That's against the law. And you can keep looking up all this stuff, but it comes around the liability piece. The part that I think is the most disturbing is, like, it's a 1% liable. If I serve you this glass of wine at my restaurant at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you go all over Kingdom Come and get crazy to the tune of somebody saw you chug a handle of Captain Morgan's. You like that one? Then you go out and have a bad accident, then we're still liable. We're on the hook. And with $1 million...
10 hours later.
Yeah, at $1 million minimum liability, you get $1 million out of us right there. Yeah.
It doesn't matter that nobody shoved that down our throat.
When did this change?
The minimum changed in 17, I believe.
So has it always been a 1%?
Yes.
So to clarify this for people that don't know anything about it, is in my mind, if I go to Larkin's and I sit there from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. and the bartender just pours me drink after drink after drink, and I get in a car and kill somebody tragically, Larkin's is 100% liable for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
As they should be held accountable to, and I
Correct.
think everybody agrees on that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you guys can serve one drink at noon, my first drink of the day, and then I go 10 other places, and now everybody's getting sued. And the attorneys have come in and said,
Yeah, that's the
it's
thing.
not just going to be a $300,000 limit you have to carry. You got to have $1 million, and then we're going to hit everybody for $1 million. So
Yeah.
you got a $30 million lawsuit now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And think about it. You
It's
came
criminal.
in with some buddies. You guys had a beer at lunch. You went home. You had a big fight with your wife. You went back out. Drank 20 shots. Got crazy. Something bad happens. They could still come back to us because you were with us that day.
So wait a minute. In that scenario, if I come to lunch, have a beer, and then go home and drink my own liquor,
Yeah.
and drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, and then go get in the car and don't even go back to a restaurant, you're still liable?
Yeah. Yep.
There's
Regardless
got to
of
be timestamps. No, so they're just like,
look,
is it they don't want to do the work to?
it's pretty simple. It's like it's the old saying, right? Follow the money. So follow
Yeah.
the money on this
Right.
deal.
Right.
As a trial lawyer, you get 35 to 45% of whatever the settlement is. If you know an insurance company is going to settle, that's which they will.
And
It's easy to do.
It's a settlement game.
And don't sidestep the fact that when that happens, it is super traumatic to the people that's involved. Like it just is. There's no getting around that. Somebody dies because a drunk driver hit them. It's awful.
Yeah.
But passing the liability off to everyone that really like, even if you had the best intentions in the world, again, one beverage, you're still on the hook for it.
Am I correct in thinking that wasn't there a rental car company that was sued because a girl got drunk and then killed somebody in the rental car?
Oh, I don't know that.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, we've heard numerous stories. I mean, the most tragic one everybody's heard of is the one on Folly Beach where, they were just
The
married
wedding,
and
yeah.
the wedding, she was just married and it got hit on the golf cart, right? But that's 30.
Well, and I mean,
Every restaurant on Folly Beach is named in this suit.
it's not that anybody's disagreeing that it's tragic and that we should, there should be limitations that a bartender in a restaurant can't get somebody absolutely trashed and send them on their way. But what's the solution to, it is tragic.
Yep.
So I get that there are people that are fighting to do something.
Right.
They want to fight it because somebody lost a child or a husband or a wife or a dog, So, but what is the solution? There's got to be, it's not just make a law and sue everybody.
Right. Maybe
That's what it is now.
Some
to
type
be
of
direct.
breathalyzer app on your phone, but how do you make somebody do it? Is there,
Well, at what point is personal accountability come into play?
well, clearly there isn't.
Well, on a personal level, what are you carrying to cover yourself? The minimum, what is it? $50,000, $150,000, $300,000, depends on what you got covered on yourself. Or,
Jail.
but
And that's why they go,
yeah, it is personal. You made a poor judgment decision, but to pass it all on small businesses, and I think the one that kills me the most is like, I think we were talking about it. It's like we have to carry $1 million policy, but a festival carries $300,000. That's their minimum.
Oh.
People are getting-
A state-owned venue, $300,000. A small mom and pop owned business, $1 million.
on every restaurant, not just one, every one.
And you have to have one on each of the caterings too.
Yes.
Correct.
So then on top of that,
So you have to carry $7 million worth of insurance.
yeah. So then take that situation we just talked about, that one beer you had at lunch, then you go out and do a bunch of crazy shit. Then they come and hit us. Our insurance company pays it out because they will. Now our insurance premium just jumped 200 to 300%. So now we're talking about $150,000 to $200,000
More. Because you're already paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance.
and just boom, there it goes. And
What do
so
you
now,
what do you think your total number is in insurance?
well, I just looked this one up for just our Larkin's group. It's about 67,000 a year. So I figured if we got hit with something like that, it would go up to, I don't know, 150, even if we get coverage. I mean, right now you got insurance providers backing out of this state completely because they don't want to be, because they know it's going to happen. You know,
so you can't even get the coverage. And
a lot of new restaurants can't. If a new restaurant's opening,
They won't even get covered.
well, now let's make this make sense.
Yep.
Isn't food and beverage the number 1 industry in South Carolina?
Oh, that's a check. I mean, anybody listening that loves their golf course, it's going to affect the golf course too. I mean, it's not like you're going to get away with it. Like,
yeah,
trust me.
hospitality as a whole is the number 1 industry, I think.
Look, when I play golf, you got to have that fireball eventually, right? And the fireball's not available because you shanked right. I mean,
yeah, it's your swing
goes
lube.
into the valley.
Swing lube.
You got to get it.
I think too that nobody talks about is some of these cases have been people that are already offenders, have had DUI and DUI or whatever it's called, the 3 things, and
The DW.
yeah,
Not the
they
VFW, which is a fun place.
and if it happens again, they should either the law should be stricter about punishment and ways to control it, and it should be easier on us to not be liable for these people that have already done these things.
Yeah. I am not in, I'm mostly a customer of these places. So I have a very base level understanding of this. But intuitively, I would say, don't you usually have on your ID card? Is there any way on your ID card that they say when you have a DUI or something? I feel like there is. I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Oh.
So if they had something on that, we couldn't rent to them.
If you have a restricted license, but
Yeah.
sometimes people get out of them or they get reduced or whatever that is. But
if there is something,
but we
on the
wouldn't know
ID,
that.
But when you ID someone, maybe if they have that, I mean, that's an automatic, like, we can't serve you.
But is that hospitable? I mean, I get where you are too.
No, but
And
I
you
But,
mean,
like, that's
you
where it
don't
gets
know-
hard for us.
I mean, you don't know, especially in your location at Camper Down or anywhere downtown. You don't know if somebody's staying at the AC hotel that's right there and walking across.
Sure.
right.
In that case, is it against the law for you to serve them 7 drinks if they're going to that hotel?
I mean,
right there?
technically,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is?
Yeah.
I mean, operationally, what are the things that are in place? And I know you're thinking about it and doing it, and they've probably already been doing it for years.
A drink per hour. The liver can only process a drink per hour.
Right.
And then after 3 drinks, you kind of question how much they ate and
But now you've got a 23-year-old new
Right.
bartender that's
Yeah.
accountable for that.
Right.
Because you guys aren't standing behind the bar monitoring.
Right.
And you don't know the other influences, like,
Are they taking pills?
Yeah,
Are they
you
on
could
heart
taking pills,
medicine?
you
Are
could
they
be
whatever?
cranking down some Rebel Rabbits, which you have to experiment with those and know what they'll do. And, you never know. I mean, all those things are out there.
It is interesting to me that they've, as much as I'm a fan of it, it's surprising they're selling it in restaurants because you don't know how, everybody reacts differently to those.
Well, it's unregulated, and that's like, it's like the hurry up, break it. I love it when people do it because I think it's awesome. I'm like, it's good for you. You did something so fast, and our government is so damn slow that they didn't even know how to react to it for 2-3 years. I mean, that's what Juul did.
Yeah.
Right? They marketed straight to children. Children were all about it. It was the cool thing to do.
Teenagers.
And the
that
government,
help
I'm
you
sure
not
they're right.
smoke. Let me put chemicals and that weird vaping stuff in your face.
Yeah, and when the federal government was in session for all of, 6 weeks of the whole year, and they're, what do we do about this? I don't know. And at this point, this is a multi-billion-dollar business now that had to pay a couple million in fees or fines after it's all said and done. I mean, they're like, fuck it, we made our money, and did it like that, like fast. And this is in the same category. It's unregulated. There's no committee set up for it. There's no laws for it. Nothing's been passed. Nobody's talking about it. And it's still like a real, don't mess with that stuff,
Well, and the only reason they haven't had laws is because they haven't figured out how to properly tax it. They haven't. The
Right.
government hasn't figured out how to make
Right.
money on it yet.
Yeah. Well, that won't take long. That part will be fast.
Hey, back to the liquor liability just for 1 second. I mean, we want to be huge advocates for Uber.
Yeah.
If you feel off, even maybe you didn't eat enough all day and those 2 drinks went to your head, get in the fucking Uber. It's not worth it for any of us.
Yeah.
It's not your family, the other person's family, anybody.
Well, we've talked about that before with the Tabbi app, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of partnership with Uber where, you've had 3 drinks.
Take an Uber.
10% off your Uber on
Right.
us.
Right.
Or a free Uber.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
just
whatever.
not-
Yeah.
like-
It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And I don't know how to beat that. There is what's the towing company in Colombia? Like they'll take your car too.
Yeah, I forget that. It's for $50. They'll tow your car to your house and leave
Oh.
you
And drop
drive
you off.
home.
Did you ever
So you
hear
have your car.
Oh, that's cool.
Insane,
That's
right?
what I was thinking. Was like, honestly, as stupid as it sounds, people are like, "Well, I don't want a parking ticket."
Yeah.
Did you ever
You know,
hear
it's a
Scooter
$25
Kings?
parking ticket
Sorry?
versus.
Yeah, I've heard of this. We talked about it.
Scooter
didn't we?
Kings in Greensboro, man. They had I knew the guy that was doing
They
it.
drive your car and scooter home, right? The
Yeah,
scooter
he
back.
he had an electric scooter. Or he had like a gas-powered scooter that would fold up. He'd throw it in your trunk. He'd drive your car home, and then he'd scooter back.
Fucking brilliant.
That is brilliant.
So you have your car there, because that's one big thing when you Uber, you leave your car.
Yeah, you
somewhere
got to
and
Uber
you
back, and then you
get-
got to remember where you put it.
Yeah,
and-
or just be responsible
Right.
and go home and Uber back.
But here it's all the solutions. Just use them. Just use them.
Well, you're not going to fix the human condition of stupid.
Yeah, being irresponsible.
We try.
Yeah.
We try.
Not
every day.
happening.
We
It's a
try
human
every day.
condition.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Well, let's talk about some fun stuff. I mean, we've got a few minutes left, and we
Yeah.
can just keep going if you want.
That
But
politicking stresses me out anyways.
What are-
Maybe
what are-
one day.
Feel you getting tense.
Maybe one. I'm just fired up. I mean, we're getting stuff done, people. You know, like we don't mess around. Like when there's a problem, here's the solution. Get it done.
Yeah.
You know, we're very reactionary in a very quick way. Maybe we need to spend more time pontificating over a better solution.
Great
but a lot of times,
word.
I know we like to throw that around. Some people we know like to do it a lot, so we like to try to participate when we can. But it really is like, here's the problem. Here's what needs to be done. Get it done. Get it done quick. And you know, I've been to these sessions where, you know, the mayor's there, there's a representative there, there's somebody from the Senate there, and you know, 90% of the time they're just doing this shit right here on their phone.
It was
Right?
like-
There's
I mean-
something bigger going on that phone than what a room full of people who are really having some problems. And it really,
Whose
like,
livelihood depend on
I remember
this.
being there. It really pissed me. I was really about to say something, you know, and then
well, and also these are people appointed by elected
The
to.
public.
that I think that day's gone, bro. They're all self-serving in my book. All right, there's a few that maybe aren't, and then maybe they should be more vocal or more out there, so we know who they are. But for the most part, what I gather from it, when it comes down to getting something done, it's about who's going to do what for who. You know, well, I did that for you. You do this for me. Oh, there's this caucus over here. Oh, we're not doing shit for them because they pissed us off, so we're not going to pass anything they want to do. How does that help anybody?
That sounds-
I mean, at the end of the day, solutions are like, do we need a lot of big government? No, that's my opinion. You know, hate me, whatever. I just think that, you know, again, do the right thing, be nice. Don't restrict businesses from doing business. Like, you know, it just makes it harder to do anything we're doing. You mentioned earlier margins. Our margins are slim. I mean, we're not making 50% profit off of what we do. I'm not manufacturing something and making a
when
ton of money.
When a burger's $15, people think it's egregious.
Yeah.
But that's what a good quality hamburger costs to get on the plate to make us maybe 15 cents off of
Yeah.
it at the end of the day.
Like literally,
you for real?
your target, your target in
Yeah.
the restaurant is about, you want, the industry is kind of like 30%, right? That's like your sweet spot. If my cost of goods are 30% on food, that's not everything else.
That doesn't include bar napkins.
That doesn't include
straws.
anything. That's just food. All right. So like when we make a menu price, the old rule of thumb was, okay, what's it cost me times 3, and I give you 33.333. I keep going. That's kind of the rule of thumb on it, right? And then you can kind of ebb and flow depending on what that price is. And we stick to that mantra. I mean, we really do. But like our steaks, like we're in competition with a lot of people in town, right? There's a lot of people doing what we do on the steak side of life. Filet and ribeyes are our top sellers. They're our top 2 selling items. In the business world, you would say, well, these are my top 2 sellers. I need these to be my highest profit margin items. Well, they're not for us because we can't really multiply it by 3. Because incoming costs right now for us, and we use prime beef, so that's another, you know, there's the little diamond or the little triangle at the very, 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 very top is prime. And there's not a lot that gets graded prime. And so we're paying a premium for it. And then this year, it's shrunk in the availability. So not only do you have this great quality, but you got very limited availability on it.
and everybody trying to maybe get it.
And so we're kind of unwavering. We are unwavering on what we
The
want to
quality
serve. We
of
want to
beef.
serve the quality of beef, and it's a branded product called Braveheart. They got a really great program. It only comes out of 4 processing facilities, And that's a big deal because some of these other brands come out of 30, maybe 40, maybe 70 different plants. So it's hard to, hard to keep the consistency, but the steak is amazing. I think it's amazing. I have to eat one at least twice a week to make sure it's still good. It's a tough part of my life. But we're not charging what we're supposed to for it, is what I'm saying. We're not making as much money on as we should be making.
That 14 or 16 ounce ribeye, it's prime.
Mm-hmm.
Your cost is probably $30.
It's $26.94.
$26.94, and you're not selling it for
No,
90 something.
We're not times
60
3 in that
something.
number because there's a guest perception problem. Right, you can't perceive that in your head. You go in there and order that ribeye, it's like $95.
Well, they're not perceiving the labor that you're paying for the person that poured their wine, for the person that delivered their food and took their order, for the person that cooked the steak.
No, why
for the
would they?
person
That's
that
not their.
salted the steak.
Right.
That's not their
They're just
responsibility.
They think they're paying for food.
Right.
Yeah.
But
It-
but add on there, like that glass broke on the way back to the kitchen.
Or a whole rack
And-
broke, and there's 26 glasses in there.
And then
Or wine spoiled.
the linen on the table, and then it's a million things that can add up to what that actually really cost us. And I can promise you at the end of the day, if we make $1 off that plate, Adam and I, as business owners,
Yeah.
we'd be happy.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have to look at. I mean, it gets me fired up a lot too because you still deal, even some friends of mine that are like the 1%ers, right? And like, every now and then I'll just ask them, like, what would you be willing to pay for a burger? And it's like every time it's like $12. It's like, man, you're like in the 70s. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bad joke. It's probably not $12 in the 70s, but it's like $12. But
Or for
and
lunch.
I said,
You're
well,
talking
what do you
for
want?
lunch,
I
right?
remember asking this question. I was like, well, what do you expect to get out of that? That's a side. That's a handmade bun, like made in house bun. That's like a bit hydroponic bib lettuce. That's heirloom tomatoes. I mean, they're literally handmade pickles.
Is this
Aioli from scratch. Like this, I remember having this conversation and like aged white cheddar. I mean, and then really great beef. And it's like, okay, well,
That's
that
a
price
$25
point-
burger.
I mean, it's a $25 burger, and we have one on our menu that's $25 right now, and it literally is what we need. We have to charge for it. I mean, we can't charge any less.
So what are the best grossing items on the menu?
Oh,
Steaks, super expensive.
Garlic knots,
garlic.
So
knots.
bread, carbs, pasta.
winning. Pasta,
Yep.
pizza, winning.
Yeah, limoncello does well on flow through. I mean,
Yeah.
there's things that we're not necessarily gouging on, but at the same time, I can't tell you how many times my steak or pizza gets a little too crispy, let's say,
Goes in the trash.
or it's coming out of the oven and it just jumps off the paddle onto the floor. I mean, kind of taking into account some of those things too.
I could see myself making that mistake.
Well, that's
Some ways.
semolina, man. It's like ice skating rink. You get a pizza on there, a little too much semolina flour. I've been there. I've lived it. I know what I'm talking about.
But flow through, profit wise, pizza pasta has been good to us.
Alcohol's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
Limoncello?
normally you don't have a problem spending, I don't know, some people like $8 to $12 for a pint of beer. It makes me like, I'm like, what? But nobody really bats an eye at that. You don't really get somebody yelling at you about that one.
That's
As
a good
long
point.
as it's good beer.
I
And it's
didn't-
cold.
When you said the burger, I mean, I guess my thought was, and maybe just because I am in restaurants a lot and I've seen it kind of go up over the last couple of years. So $15 for $15 to even $20 for a really great burger.
That's just what it is.
I get really annoyed when I have to pay $10 for a beer
Yeah.
and it's like a Yingling
Yeah.
Right.
right.
or like it's like that's a $4 beer.
Well, they're making it up there. So, I mean, look, every operator's different. You can do whatever you want, literally. But it's really based on what your customer's willing to do, what they're
Right.
willing to pay for, what they're willing to get excited about or get mad about. And I think that's up to every restaurateur to figure out. But what a lot try to do is try to get their pricing lower and more attractive so they can attract more customer base. But if you don't get more volume on that method, then you're going to lose at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's kind of, we wrestle with this a lot with our brand Grill Marks at the mall. Like, that's a great example of a business model that could do better. But if we discount it anymore on the current foot traffic, it's the same foot traffic. The foot traffic's not going up. The foot traffic's the same, if not going down.
And they're not going to come in and buy other things from a discount.
Yeah. So if we give them, if everybody goes there and you get 20% off there, just say, because that's what the retail world likes to do.
So bring them in.
To bring them in, they're not going to spend up anymore. We're going to discount the foot traffic we're already getting. So we really wrestle with that one. It's like, well, it's just kind of expensive, or somebody just bought $200 pair of basketball shoes and they bought a side of French fries to eat, and then they're leaving, and that's usually how it went. So it's hard. I mean, it's an economics game, and it
Walk me
depends
through
on
the economics just at a high level.
Yeah.
Because shameless plug for you guys. You have the best happy hour.
yeah.
Go listen
Thank
to
you.
our
Good
go listen to our last episode.
Oh, right. Awesome.
Well,
The three of us basically did a year review of
Can we say this?
3 to 6 every single day. $1 a shuck.
Yeah, $2 now.
$2.
Is it
Yeah.
2? Okay, so
Pleasure.
there you go.
I thought it went up.
I mean, that's
It's
but
so
this
it was-
is the state of the time.
You got
I
to play
wanna-
off the taglines. It was $1 a shuck. Now it's $2 shuck.
It was
$2 shuck.
it was Buck a Shuck literally 2 days after we opened from COVID to get just like put some type of smoke signal we're open, right? So people would come, and this is old Larkins. Can I say this?
I don't know. Can you say it? I don't know what
I'm
you're about to
I
say.
know you need to like
I'm
sign
gonna
it.
say
If we say no,
We can cut it out.
Will they hear this part?
I'll just make a loud
Will they-
noise.
But you could maybe cut this, okay?
Maybe cut.
So Mark and Larkin Hammond, the previous owners, never believed in happy hour for Larkins, and
Because it was a branding issue.
it looked like it discounted the brand.
I don't think they were as popular. Happy hour's gotten more. There's been an emergence of more popular happy hour.
I think so, because you want a place to go and congregate and have these great
Well, and you know where
values.
this grew out of. So happy hours were generally just people that weren't working in that time.
Sure.
But now with technology, people
We
can
can
work
work
from
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah,
and-
especially
So you move your office
after
here.
COVID.
Yeah.
I think
I'll get my drink on early, and then I'll be in bed by 9:00. And
Yeah,
start
I
my
totally
day.
say I have a meeting at Larkin's at 3:00.
Yeah, every day we try
And I
that.
got a meeting with this lady named Espresso Martini.
Miss
Sounds
Martini.
exotic.
But we kind of fought them on that, and we both just looked at each other and said, like the day after we bought the restaurant, we were going to do this. It was really important to us. First of all, our location. We are literally next door to a hotel where the valet you pull in faces us at 3:00 check-in every day.
Right.
So what doesn't fucking make sense about that?
Yeah.
You're right.
And if somebody sees some activity, you park your car, you drove 3 hours, you got off a plane, you're tired, you're in your sweats, but you still feel comfortable. It's an outside kind of vibe. I'm going to go get a drink there. And they might get a drink. And we even had an instance where somebody came in to get a drink, and he was interesting. He was in a tank top and tattoos all over the place, piercings, baseball cap. But old Larkins wouldn't have accepted that. He would have been asked to put something a little bit more I
Family
guess,
friendly.
formal on
Right.
before they came in. But we let him. He sat at the bar. He was lovely, amazing. Him and his wife went up to their hotel, got all fancied up, and sat in the back of the dining room for dinner. And that's who we are, and that's what we wanted to be. And happy hour is a big part of that. I think it's networking, it's socializing for a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
that wouldn't come in. You're not going to come.
I did
I know.
not come in
Right.
until
Happy
happy
hour.
hour. My roommate was, she grew up here
Yeah.
and her family loved
Yeah.
Larkins, but I had never been until I came for the happy hour because it just seemed not.
You
Now
can
that
say
I've
it.
now that I've
Just
been
say
to
it, be
Larkins,
honest.
it seemed unapproachable
Right.
There you go.
until happy hour.
And you wouldn't come in and probably have it every night drop $200 on dinner,
Yeah.
right?
No.
But you would sit at the bar with your girls and drink espresso martinis and
Yeah.
eat truffle fries, half price. And
yeah, and probably to the point where we would get at least halfway there.
yeah, yeah.
Well, when we did the happy hour, you guys, the same comment was made by a lot of people that
Yeah.
I was talking to. It was like it was unapproachable almost. Like, it was like, ooh, Larkins, ooh, like, so fancy, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's really who we are.
That's not who
I
we
think,
are.
we get this question a lot, like, what are you going to become? Who are you? What is your restaurant? It's not like so cookie cutter for us. I think right now we want,
What do I say?
we just want a restaurant. You just put good food on the plate,
Good
right?
fucking food on a plate, and
You
that's
got
what,
F
that's
bomb
who
in
we
there
want to
too.
be.
But we just want, like, based on our history and our background, and like just a place that people like us go, and it's just get a really great meal, right? We don't have to win awards. We don't have to go get James Beard Best Chef Awards or any of that shit. That's not what we're in the game for. We're a hospitality group. We're all about taking care of people, creating experiences, unique, and we're leaning into that. We're actually collaborating more on that now than we ever have. We just did a party last night, a Christmas party. Kristina made a beautiful tablescape, and they were just blown out of the water. I mean, that's that extra touch that not anyone else is doing, and that's where we're
They
starting
didn't
to really.
expect it. They had no idea.
It's unexpected. You walk
Aw.
in, it's like the added value. Sometimes the added value is like, oh, here's a free something, or here's an amuse or whatever.
We
And
want to
everybody
make the
gets a little bite of
experience.
something, but
Yeah, and I think you guys do. It's interesting as we've gotten to know each other and work together in different things. It's been fun to see. I mean, 18 months in, you are innovating, thinking about how to shape and evolve in the brand. But the attention to detail, no matter the situation. If you want to have a really nice dinner for your anniversary, the personal touches. I mean, my wife and I did our anniversary there, and there's flowers and candy and a note and amazing service. And I mean, there are lots, and I know a lot of the people and the conversation. But then you're willing to open up the patio doors and have a DJ and have like a young dance party at the bar, or have
You can have the different
a
experiences because the
costume
way it's
experience
situated.
at
yeah.
Limoncello and
Yeah.
have a 1 a.m. blowout party. It's like it's good people, good food, good spaces, creating experiences based on what that experience is.
well, it's all about. That's all we want in life now, I think. I mean, everything else is the same.
Yeah.
It's still $12 cheeseburgers, but the experiential cheeseburger, right?
The new burgers at Grill Marks, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They're pretty good. And that's nothing yet. This has been, I'd like to say that we're still in our sort of post-COVID menu format, which was
Yeah, it is.
when the menu we had before COVID was like really interesting, a lot of cool stuff. And then when we came out of it, it's like, holy shit, can't get anything. Like you can't consistently get anything. So
Couldn't get brie cheese.
like you would have thought like this year was weird. Like what was it? Spring, late spring, early summer. You couldn't get pineapple rings, right? And I would love to do fresh pineapple. Don't hear me wrong, but like just be honest. It's a little harder to do in that environment because you got to move through a lot of them. Whatever the canned stuff seems to hold up better quality, works better on the burger.
It's consistent.
Covers the square footage of the bun, that kind of thing. So it was like you couldn't get them at all. So we had to kind of, we're getting fresh pineapple or getting whatever they subbed out or something like that. So I would like to see, like next year, that's our plan is really to focus in on that brand specifically and create some new, interesting, fun, creative burgers. Because, I mean, right now I think we're leaning into our sophisticated burger joint and just really elevating the feel of the restaurant, elevating the bar program, keeping the tried and trues, the ones that are our top sellers, they're not going anywhere. And then just
It's a double smash, man.
yeah, man, the smash is like
People love it.
it's like
I
60-40
love it.
now.
I eat one a week at
I
least.
love
Like
it.
60% of people ordering that smash burger.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know, but we moved to Brasstown beef on the smash burger, so it's a more holistic product. It's a close friend of mine, and it's just a better burger in general.
You don't know why you like it so much when you're eating it, but I'll tell you why. It's like supreme. It's top quality
Beef.
beef. It's so good.
Yeah, it's the best, and we know it. And it was a difficult decision because
It's way more expensive.
we added about 25 to 27% more cost to that
Well, and
item.
you can't jump the price 25%.
We didn't.
You're just eating some of the margin.
We are.
We
Just
kept
for
the
quality.
price.
Quality.
We kept the
Yeah.
price the same for the margin.
It goes back to the prime steaks. I mean,
Right.
and again, like we're talking about it as that's our business, but not the general consumer coming in doesn't know that. Ultimately, steak plate hits the table, you cut it, you eat it. That's what you're doing. You don't know anything else about it. That's it.
Blissful ignorance.
Well, it is, and it's like
But
you
then-
either do this or
but-
this thing
But that's
sucks.
hospitality.
But
You're
what-
creating
Damn,
a
this is good.
seamless experience.
What's
Exactly.
important though is that people you eat that burger, you're like, it's craveable. Like you're gonna come back for it.
Right.
Like my breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, it's good. It's
know.
good
Well,
breakfast
let's
sandwich.
dive
On the
into some.
streets.
I want to hear. I mean, you guys have call it 15, 20, almost 20 years experience in the restaurant industry.
What?
Mm-hmm.
35.
35.
What don't
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
hear?
try 35.
I turned 50
Like
this year.
Okay.
You missed my party.
So what
Tucker
are-
was there.
We're like AARP combined
It's
here.
my party.
I did miss your party.
Tucker was there.
What are some of the what are some you've had some crazy employees, some crazy customers, some crazy things happen in your restaurants.
What are the most notables?
What?
What are the
I mean,
funniest? I mean,
Top 10 out of your mind.
things
You're not going to believe this shit type.
you should never do.
Tell me what you should never do.
Is work at any job at all? I don't know. But not just restaurants. You want to say any job at all?
Edge of my seat.
Can I have the David Letterman? This is probably number 1 though. I need to start like low. I have to start low.
Start low.
Okay.
I mean,
Don't beat off in a bathroom
wow.
during a wedding tasting.
Yeah, when your phone connects to Bluetooth
Oh no.
accidentally.
Oh my God.
Oops.
Whoops. I mean, she said beat off, but I mean, could have been a, yeah. It was a compromising situation.
So don't have a Bluetooth speaker
That
outside and then go watch.
Yeah. So tasting's
phone.
here. The tasters are arrived.
my
Usually
God.
bridegroom, mother, these kinds of people.
Just
Sales team says, "Hey, I'm gonna cut the radio on, play some soft music." They cut it on.
some
It happens to
light
be an
tunes.
input mode Bluetooth. Happens to connect to said person's phone,
So
who
probably
was
no porn
in the
on the top.
restroom watching, and what some would say is an inappropriate video that made sounds.
I can't listen. Can
How
I
dare
make
you
this
smack
shit
my
up? Can I
mic
make
like
this
that?
shit up?
You can't make that up.
No, I mean that's a good one. I mean that was.
That's not number 1.
That's so not number 1.
Oh my God. All right. Well,
you gotta keep
we started low. Let's.
That's child's play.
Okay. Top 10 things you should never do in a restaurant.
That was number 10.
No, I would put that one way up there.
I got some better ones.
That one's still
I
fresh.
mean, that's still good. That's good. There, we have a limited use elevator that has a big sign on it. Says for food use or limited use,
Yeah.
limited weight.
Yeah, that's a longer story. It's
So
like,
Friday night, don't 7 cooks get into a limited use elevator at 4:45 on a Friday night.
Kristina and I were in a really good meeting too. We were having a cocktail meeting at the restaurant. Continue.
And we were getting places at this meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the fire department showed up. And
Yeah, we saw a fire truck. Looked
That
out the
was-
window. I was like, oh, there's a fire truck. That's interesting.
No.
that was
No
actually
one's told us anything's going on, by the way.
well. The fire truck was the best thing that happened to me because firefighters. But to have
Yeah. It
7
was like
of them,
12. It was like 12 of them.
12 of them piled up on the past. I mean, that was the best thing that happened to me all day.
You were loving
And
that.
then
Jackets weren't even buttoned either.
and-
It was like just tank tops.
And-
Yeah,
and-
just guys
that's-
in suspenders.
Axes. Everyone had an axe. It was weird.
Just 6-pack showing.
Yeah, it was
through
weird.
The
They're all
t-shirt.
carrying axes
It
like
was
they're
like
badass,
a calendar model.
there was one tall, bald one, and that's my jam, So then the stretcher came in.
Yeah,
So
and then EMS arrived,
So
which we started getting like we're trying to have this. We're like
we're trying
again,
to keep our composure.
We said you can notice stuff that's happening and just kind of get a feel what's happening. Like we're trying to have this meeting. And she's like, "What's happening right now?" I don't know. I see the same shit you're seeing, but we're trying to have this meeting, And then he's oblivious. The guy we're meeting with, and he was like, then all of a sudden he's like, "What's happening right now?" I was like, "I don't know, but I got to get up and find out what's happening." I go to find out what's happening, and there's 7 of them trapped in an elevator.
4 cooks, 3 servers, and we're supposed to be open for dinner service.
One poor soul was his first day of work.
Oh my God.
He didn't come back the next day. And then we had a young lady that worked with us that she suffered from having seizures, and she had like
She's
3.
epileptic.
Yeah,
she had 3 seizures.
3
while
on
she
the
was
elevator.
On the elevator?
Yeah, and then when they finally got the door open and they came out, they're all like
Everybody's
ghosts.
having
Traumatized.
seriously traumatized, but they have to get fucking dinner service because we're open for goddamn sake. Sorry.
Calm down, Tiger. And then they were all like freaked out except for one of our cooks. I was like, "Dude, you good? You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. Let's go. Let's roll." I'm like, "That's my boy right there." And everybody else is freaked out. I'm like handing out waters. I'm like, please don't call all 7s. It's like, I'm really sorry. I didn't know, what happened, and we go through all this stuff. But yeah. I mean, there's always a story.
But they thought that was funny that they were all going to jump on there like a clown car. Like they didn't. There's a sign that says limited use.
So it's just overweight.
It ended up being that, yes. That ended up caused it to
the
be.
verbiage on the signage?
I don't know anymore.
Could you, I don't think it's
max
politically
3
correct.
people.
Yeah.
The only like I don't even ride it. Like I don't want to get stuck on it.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
After
it's
that
like-
experience,
I feel like I'm accepting blame here, but the fact is
learn
it's
from your peers.
it's a really interesting elevator that's designed. It can't fall up or down, right? It's counterlevered. The safety features and stuff on it aren't even that great. Like it's just a shitty elevator, right? And it's even the fire department's like, I can't even get in this damn thing. Like the key thing won't. Like normally when this thing happens, they put a key in, it unlocks the door, boom, the door opens up. And the installer's the same mindset. They're like, this is bullshit. And I'm like, yeah. So we're working on modifying it, but it's like we'd be better off with a little pulley system. you
Yeah,
know?
it's a do not.
But that's
enter
not
right
allowed
now.
by code to have an old school chain pulley type elevator, which is exactly what we need. We need to transport food. We need to transport people from time to time. All of our prep stuff's downstairs. All our coolers, all our storage, everything's downstairs.
I've never been down there.
It's weird. It's weird down there,
Let's go
man.
down
It's like
there
a
one
little
day.
dungeon.
Let's go check it out.
Nah, it's just a little.
It's a big space though.
Yeah, it's a good size space.
Yeah.
And anyways, that's a good one.
What's
Thanks for sharing that
what's
one.
What's number one?
Let's do a little later.
What do you got? You got one?
No, I was trying to think if I had a good one. I mean, I've had a fair amount, but they go back in the days. I mean, the only one that I was kind of famous for was like saying how I'm gonna see if I can make this guy quit, and as soon as I walked back there, I mean, I made the comment, and I walked back there, and like seconds later, that dude's cussing me out as he's leaving the restaurant.
Well, that was COVID Kitchen. So we were in COVID Kitchen. We were trying to open up for Mother's Day, which was very traumatic for us. I don't
At
know if you
Limoncello.
guys don't remember, but they said on Friday like 4:00 in the afternoon, you could open on that Sunday.
Or that weekend,
Or
you could
that
open
weekend.
immediately.
And it's like, well, holy shit. Like, it's not a switch. You can't just turn it on. We had to get food because we just already depleted all our food.
Yeah.
And we had to get
Right.
people.
I think
Yeah.
McMaster's announced it on Friday.
Yeah.
And then it like the phone was like at that moment the phone went nuts.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't keep up with the
Psycho.
phone.
It was insane.
We started moving every table,
Yeah.
every chair we had outside
Oh,
because we
everybody
had this
thought
giant
we were
piazza.
crazy. Everybody thought. In fact, the staff said, "Have you lost your freaking mind?" I said, "No, we're gonna do some business. We're gonna make some money tomorrow."
Hell yeah.
And we took every table we own, all the wood heavy tables, took them outside.
Yeah.
But so we're also trying to coordinate all the online ordering and then all the systems because we had all these things and then
And prep the
and-
entire menu.
and cooking the entire menu. So we're cooking the entire menu. Adam's cooking the menu. We got one kid in, and we said, your only job is to make sure don't burn that sauce.
Yeah, stir the sauce.
Stir it. That's all you got to do. Because we had to get on the phone. We had to do this. We had to do blah, 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 blah.
Sauces are hard too.
And we had
It's-
to, we,
it's
I was in there
marinara.
cooking the whole time, but we were like, we need to have. Of
Fucking marinara.
This isn't
Hot
Michelin
on the
star
stove.
sauce.
No, listen.
Of course it is. I made it, bro.
I
I mean,
mean-
it's like
No, but I
life
mean,
change-
like-
toe curling
We're not
marinara.
we're not life changing a sauce,
Get that in
okay?
a clip.
We're trying to make like 60 gallons of marinara so we could do some chicken parm, some lasagna. We're trying to like massively feed everybody.
Right.
He says to this kid, he goes, "Your only job is don't burn the sauce, bro. And
Yep.
I'll be back in 10 minutes." And he goes back there, and you could smell it. We could
smelled it
smell
as soon as I opened
we
the door.
could smell it.
Oh,
It was scorched.
one job.
Wait, so then he comes back out. He goes, "This is gonna be the quickest fire ever." He goes, "Stand by." Literally less than 40 seconds go by, and this guy is screaming through the piazza, "Fuck that motherfucker! I'm fucking never coming back!" Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You burned the sauce, dude.
You had one
You know all I
job.
said? I mean, when I said, I was like, "Did you stir the sauce?" He said, "Yeah, man, I stirred it." I was like, "Sure you fucking did. Sure you stirred the sauce. I can smell you stirred the sauce." I mean, just super smart ass. And it was on wide ass open hot. And I was like, literally, bro, you had one fucking job. Stir the sauce. And then I was just an ass. I mean, I was so mad about it too. And that shit pisses me off. Like she's talking about food waste. It just really pisses me off.
Food waste is so.
You scorch a sauce and I
Yeah.
really lose my shit.
All right. So in closing,
In closing.
number one. What's the number one story?
Number one.
Yes,
What
Kristina,
not to do.
don't do this on the streets of Main Street.
Do not suck a dick in
Wow.
front of one of my restaurants.
No.
Yes,
No.
on Main Street.
Out in the open.
Yeah,
In front? Not even in the alleyway.
right in the
behind?
parking space.
Wow.
Mhm.
What?
You know what I think? I think that dude made some toe curling marinara. And it was his turn. It was his turn. That's what.
This was an employee mid shift.
On my fucking clock. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
On the clock.
Yeah.
Did she get arrested for? And what? Somebody got arrested,
You
right?
can't even pee in public.
No, that sparked an investigation. That was Blowygate 24. And
Blowygate 24.
Blowygate 24. We had to do a lot of research.
All right.
Had to ask a lot of questions.
Wow. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh my
We
god.
should
That
do.
went
We
too
should
far.
do. We should do a Tabbi hour after hours.
Oh, what's that mean? What happens there?
Just, I don't know. We might not be able to
I was gonna
record
say.
those.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Well, Adam, Christina, thanks for coming.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
thank
having
you.
us. Thanks
Cheers.
for the wine.
Yeah.
Cheers. I got one sip left. That's gonna make a lot of noise.